Hi, hello everyone, this is Rishu, and today I will tell you about how I became fluent in English, and I'm going to tell you how I started learning English. I'm not going to tell you any fabricated story or something. I'm going to tell you honestly left how I actually started learning English. So first I want to tell you a few important things about myself. That I was born and brought up in India means I didn't grow up in an English speaking country like any other person. Then I didn't really start learning English from a very early age. Means I actually never went to any preschool or play school. There are a lot of schools nowadays for small kids, and they start going there and start learning initially, which actually make a kind of base for them when they grow up. But I never had that kind of education. I studied normally in a school. And another thing is that I didn't really grow up in an English speaking environment. Means I always use my native language as my first language because the environment I was growing up in was normal, like people used to speak native language, and I wasn't speaking English at all, right? So these are the things about my background. Now I'm going to tell you a few things that I actually started learning English at a very early age, I would say. I mean, when a child starts to go to school, at that time I started learning English, but it was pretty basic, right? So whatever you learn at school, for example, writing, reading, you always start with alphabets and all, ABC and all, right? So these things I started learning, but it was pretty basic for me. And I think these things are taught in every school. If you go to school, these are basic things. Basically, you start learning from these basic things. And actually kind of created a base for me, so that I was able to express my thoughts through writing. Of course, I really didn't start speaking at that time. I knew how to write some words, some letters, right? And this is how initially I started to grow my base. And when I started to grow up, and then I started to understand a little bit of English as well. But I never started speaking that time. And I learned grammar. For the first time, I learned grammar when I was in my high school. And I had to learn grammar because it was a part of my curriculum, right? In order to pass the exam, you have to take some grammar test, and you need to know grammar. So that time I actually started learning grammar for the first time. But until now, I haven't spoken anything in English. I mean, I was learning grammar. I know how to write, and I could write well, but I never started speaking English. So until my schooling, I knew English, I knew grammar a little bit, but I haven't really started speaking a lot. I never spoke a lot, right? So my speaking skills were not too great that time. But yeah, I could write well, and I had those kind of input in my mind because I've been writing English for a long time, because I studied in an English medium school. Means whatever subject I had to learn was in English. So means I had that basic understanding of English. I could understand, I could write, and because I had to write long paragraphs and essay in my test, so that kind of created my English mindset. But of course, when it comes to speaking, I had no idea because I never tried that. Speaking is a totally different concept than writing and reading, right? And until schooling, I have never learned anything. Then I went to college for my graduation, and that was my first exposure to speaking, I would say, because in college, sometimes you get some assignment where you have to speak or give some presentation and all. So that was the first time I actually started speaking. But of course, my English was not perfect. So it's more like a script, like if you have a presentation, you prepare it well, you kind of mug it up, everything, and you just present it. So I could say I could speak that time, but it was not so natural. It was more scripted. So you prepare something and you can just deliver it. That's all. But yeah, that time also my speaking skills were not so great. My turning point, I would say, for me was one of my friends who was doing graduation with me in my college, right? And he kind of asked me to join a kind of English course, which was offered by an institute. So I was always excited to learn English. To be very frank, I mean, I never taught English as a subject. It was just my passion to learn. So when he told me about the institute, and he told me that, okay, let's join together, because there was a kind of discount going on if we join in a pair, right, you're gonna get some discount on the course. So he told me that he's looking for a partner. So I said, all right, I would join. I had some free time after the lesson, after my classes in my graduation. So I said, all right, let's join. It's gonna be fun. So I joined it. And from that time, actually, it was my first time actually started speaking. So that really helped me a lot because I learned different vocabulary, grammar part as well. Although I knew grammar before, but I've got to revise everything again, right, and learn some vocabulary. And that time I actually started speaking. I used to get some different topics and had to present some different topics on the stage in front of public, right? So that was my first exposure, proper exposure of speaking. And then it really boosted my confidence that time. And first thing I would say that I was always confident, even though I knew that I wasn't perfect that time, but I was always confident about doing anything. If I knew that, okay, I have to speak, I have to learn English, I was always confident. I thought that, okay, I could do that for sure. There's no reason that I can't do it. So that was the first time I actually started speaking English. Okay, after that, of course, then when I got a little bit of confidence, then I started speaking. And then what I did, that I started listening to some songs, English songs for the first time. Before that, I never listened to any songs. And then I found some kind of singers, and I also was kind of interested in rap songs and hip hop songs. The reason for that, because my friend who was much into listening songs and all, he told me about different kind of singers and rappers, and I actually started listening to them. And for the first time when I listened to them, like rapper, if you ever heard, listen to any rapper or hip hopper, they speak really fast or fluently, right? So when I started listening to them for the first time, it was like, oh, holy cow, like they're speaking too fast. I can't catch up. Right? I can sing normally, like a slow song, romantic song, but if you want to rap or hip hop, they speak too fast, and it was really difficult to catch up with them, right? So I thought, oh, it's too difficult for me. But I tried to do that. I tried to catch up. And actually, you won't believe that, when I started practicing, started singing songs with lyrics on the screen, and then I got used to it. So it's all about getting used to, once you start something and when you do it, practice it for a long time, then you kind of try to catch it. You start to catch it up quickly. So it's all about practice. It's all about giving time to something. So then I found out, okay, it's not too difficult as I thought initially, because when I heard all the songs initially, were quite difficult. But when I started practicing, and it was quite easy for me. But of course, I'm not talking about really fast raps, because that need a different skill altogether. Now I can fast rap as well. Now it's a different story, but that time I could sing some songs, fast song as well. Okay, apart from that, of course, I would say that I had to give a lot of presentations, and my interest in English, so I had to listen to different lectures on YouTube and all. So I had a completely different exposure to English, and also different exposures to speaking for the first time, and it was really boosting my confidence, and I could speak. I was not fluent that time, but I could speak English that time. All right, later on, when I passed out from my college, I graduated from my college, I actually went to do a master's degree, and that was another exposure because I did my MBA. And if you know, in MBA, you have to do everything in English, means everything you learn in English, you have to give a lot of presentation, and there are a lot of topics you have to present. So MBA was one of my courses where I had no choice. I had to speak in English all the time. Most of the times I would say, like, even I am communicating with a teacher or friends, or if I'm just talking or discussing something, I have to speak in English all the time. So that time you had no choice. So I would say, when you just give no choice to yourself and just think that, okay, now I have to speak only English, I have no choice, so then it becomes quite easy for you, because then you also start working on yourself and you start learning dedicatedly. So that was a great experience for me. When you are about to finish your post-graduation, then you have to prepare for your interviews and all. So I had to prepare a lot for group discussions, interviews, presentations, and which actually made me a well-prepared person who can speak well, right? Because when you have everything in line, like when you know what you have to do. So I knew that I have to improve my communication skills for interview, or I have to improve my communication skills for group discussion. I had to learn about different topics, and I learned about different subjects. So learning is pretty important. Before you could start speaking English, it's important to get a lot of knowledge and information, because if you have no information or knowledge, you don't know about the subject, what you have to talk about, right? So it's important to improve your knowledge, and which I did in MBA, like which when I was doing my course, and I improved, I got a lot of knowledge, and which really helped me to improve my speaking skills. Later on, when I graduated from my post-graduation college, and then I worked in different companies. I worked in marketing and IT. So, of course, when you're working in a company in India, if you know, English is a business language. So, I mean, if you're working in a company, then you need to speak and communicate in English all the time. And of course, if you want to get a good job in India, communication skills is must. Like if you don't have good communication skills, it's really difficult to get a good job actually. So I mean, I needed to improve my skills. But yeah, while working in the company, I got a lot of exposure. So I had to write some emails and write some documentations and write a lot of reports. And I learned a lot, because when you're writing, you learn about formal English, how to compose an email, how to write a report. So all these things give me a lot of exposure, and then my English skills were really improved that time. Okay, later on, I would say that I also started traveling as well. So my first trip was to Thailand. I went with my friends to Thailand for the first time, and of course, I could speak English until then, but of course, I was not too fluent. But yeah, when I traveled, I was always confident. Of course, I knew that if I'm traveling, I could communicate with people, foreign people, easily. I mean, it was not something which was kind of really difficult for me. I was always confident. So yeah, I started traveling. I could talk to many people, and I had a lot of fun. And that time I had another exposure to foreign people. Then there was another turning point when I quit my job, and I thought I should be a teacher. So I actually did a ESL and TEFL course. I was just searching about some English course online on Google after quitting my job, and I was thinking that what should I do next? So I found this course, and it was really fortunate for me that I found this course, and I actually enrolled in that course, and I did that course. It was for about a month, and that course gave me a lot of exposure of like how to teach, because in order to become a teacher, you need to learn different English skills and teaching skills basically. So I learned a lot of things, and I had a good company, good friends. I met a lot of good friends while doing that course, and that was a turning point for me. And when I completed that course, there were a couple of friends, so we planned together that we should go to a country and start teaching English, right? And actually, it's really difficult to become a teacher in India if you don't know, because there are a lot of teachers here, and also you need a different kind of education to teach in English. Means that my education is not in English, means I have not done my major in English. As I told that I have done MBA, so which is totally different from, like, my major is not into education. So which means I could only find an option outside of country. So we planned together, like I planned with two of my friends. We thought like, okay, let's go to an Asian countries. So first country we thought of, after doing a little bit of research, we thought, okay, let's go to Vietnam. So we went to Vietnam for the first time, and then we went there, and we joined some kind of volunteer program. And after joining that program, we learned a lot. And fortunately, after some time, we found an English job, teaching job, right? We were really fortunate because we found some employer, we contacted them, we met them, and we got a job, fortunately for us, right? So when I actually started teaching, I had to learn a lot of things. So I would say definitely that if I were not a teacher, I wouldn't be speaking English too fluently. Of course, I could speak English that time as well, but I wouldn't be so fluent, or maybe I won't be able to know a lot of things about English which I had to learn because I had no option. I had to teach. So before you teach, you had to learn. You have to teach yourself, right? So I learned about different technicality of English. I learned about different things, technical things in English, which really helped me to understand English as a language. Because before that, I could speak, but I never learned English as a language. I mean, I never learned about the technical part of English, right? So I just learned the basic thing, but teaching allowed me to learn the technical aspect of English. And because I started teaching, so then I have to work upon some of my weaknesses, which was, say, my pronunciation or dialect or accent, right? Of course, I had to learn a lot of grammars as well, like advanced grammar I'm talking about. Of course, I was always wary of the grammar part, but I had to learn advanced grammar because when you have to teach to your student, you make sure that you should know each and everything about English, right? So of course I had to improve my pronunciation, dialect and all. And of course, how did I do that? By myself. I watched some YouTube videos and I learned different things from internet, and I read some books, grammar books, different books. And YouTube, I would say, one of the source for me where I could find a lot of information. Everything, like I would say, everything is available on the internet. You just have to find the right material for you. So it really helped me, and I was able to improve my diction, pronunciation, and everything. As I told that when I became a teacher, then my speaking skills really improved. And also I was living in a kind of environment where I had to talk with all the foreigners, like people from native countries, English-speaking countries, and I had to talk with them all the time. So which kind of gave me a lot of confidence, because when you're living in an environment 24 hours, right? So then you have to speak in English all the time, and you also improve your listening, because I used to listen to people from different countries, so it's really improved my listening. And yep, overall, I could say that was the only time where my speaking skills really improved. And of course, I was always excited to join different courses, like if I could find some online courses, free online courses, or some kind of webinar or seminar. I was always keen to join them, because even though if your English speaking skills are not so great and it takes a long time, but you always should be eager to learn. I mean, get a lot of information, get a lot of knowledge, which I always did. I mean, I was always an avid learner. I was always keen to learn different things and new things. So, because I had a lot of information already, I knew a lot about different subjects. So which really helped me to learn English well, because I knew about the subject. So if you knew about the subject, you could speak well, right? But if sometimes people don't know about subject, for example, if I ask you to talk about science, right? And maybe you have never learned science, you have no idea about science, then it might be difficult for you to talk about science, because you have never talked about it, even though you might speak English well, but it's really difficult to talk about certain topic. So I had that edge, because I did my MBA and I did a lot of courses, and I learned a lot of things in my graduation. So I already knew a lot of things. The thing I had to do is to improve my speaking skills, that's all, right? So that really helped me a lot. So this is how I became really fluent, and I'm still learning. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but even I could speak quite fluently, but I want to master it. And when you think in a way that, okay, you just don't have to learn, but master it. And when you think like that, you're gonna always excel. Of course, you can never be perfect. You can never be perfect in your life. You always excel for more and more, right? You always try to break your plateau. I mean, you can never be perfect. You think that, okay, you have learned enough, but learning is a lifelong process. Like, you keep learning until you die. So I'm still learning, and I like to learn, because that's my interest, that's my passion, and I really enjoy it. I don't think English as something which gonna give me some benefit in the future. I just think that I want to learn, enjoy, and I want to communicate, and it will really help me when I travel, when I talk to different people. That's all. I just think like that. Okay, so I hope my journey really inspired you to learn English, and I believe that if I can do as a non-native speaker, of course, I'm a non-native speaker, all right? And as I told about my background, that instead of all the odds, I could learn English against all the odds, because I mean, as I told that I'm not a native speaker, right? I never got that kind of environment and never learned English in my childhood. Like nowadays, people have everything. They have all the resources on the internet. They could learn online, right? That time, I just used to learn with textbooks, and there was few teachers who could guide me, but I never learned online. There was no YouTube that time. So now you have everything. You have YouTube, all the online resources. There are teachers who could guide you, right? And of course, you know where to find material. So it's actually quite easy for you to learn if you start to learn. So I don't think that you should find an excuse to learn English or any language. I mean, there's no excuse for now that, okay, I can't learn because this is an excuse for me. No, I had so many excuses that time, but still I learned it well, and I'm really proud that I could learn it pretty well and I could speak really well. Finally, I would say that, you learn English not as an obligation, but learn it as your hobby. Make it your hobby, that, okay, I like to learn English, and I just want to learn as my hobby. Don't think it like, okay, this is an obligation for me to learn English because I want to excel in my job, I want to have a better career, or I have no choice. Don't think it like that, because then it will become a burden on you. Think it like you are learning and you will have fun. Have that kind of mindset. Then you're gonna really enjoy learning. So basically, you need 3 things if you wanna learn any language like a native speaker. First, you need to have passion to learn. If you have passion, you can learn everything. Then you should be inquisitive to know new things, right? Always be eager and inquisitive to learn and know a lot of information around you. If you are an eager learner, you're gonna learn it quite well. And then you need to enjoy learning and have fun. That's the final thing. Enjoy whatever you do and just have fun. Don't take it as a burden. All right? So I hope all these things what I told you could inspire you. And of course, if I can learn, you can also learn, because you also a human being like me, right? I'm not much different from you. I'm also a non-native speaker like you. So you could also learn, and you could actually speak better than a native speaker. When I say this, I mean it, because when you work hard to achieve something, means you have spent a lot of time in something. So you will improve, you will be a better person who have never learned English as a language. Of course, native speaker could speak well because they have been speaking English for a long time, since their childhood. But there are a lot of things which you could talk about better than native speakers. There are a lot of subjects, if you have learned about them, you could speak better than native speaker, because those people have not learned about certain topics, right? So of course you could speak better, but it takes time. You have to be patient, you have to spend more time, be dedicated all the time. And of course, you will reach at one stage after some time that you could feel that, okay, I'm confident enough to talk about anything. I'm confident enough to talk about any topic, and I'm as good as a native speaker. All right. So start your journey for today. It will take some time. That's all right. Be patient. Keep learning. Have fun. Goodbye.